Good evening, all. Welcome to the Village Board meeting for the Village of Pleasantville. Today is Monday, November 19. If you are watching live on Monday, November 19, we invite you to call in if you have questions or comments at 769-1677. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, December 3 at 8 p.m. with a work session at 7. And I had a couple of announcements to make. I'm always of the mind that when we get an audience like this, which we hardly ever get, certainly never get for good reasons like this, always a controversy, we should do the resolutions first as a civics lesson for all. But we won't, I promise you. I do have a couple of announcements, and one, as long as we have such a good audience, we might as well take advantage of it so all you guys can help spread the word, and that is that the Pleasantville Police Benevolent Association has joined together with the Briarcliff Police Benevolent Association to host a toy drive to benefit hospitalized kids and their families at the Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital. So there is a box downstairs in the front hall, and donations are accepted there from November 16 through December 14. There is a list of ideas for kids of various different ages that goes on for a while, but you can take a look at it if you are interested at our website, which is pleasantville-ny.gov. Click into the news section. You might have to scroll down and you'll find the info about the PBA toy drive, but really a great thing, and it benefits kids in the hospital right down the street at the Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital. So thanks to the PBA for doing that, and thanks to all of the Pleasantville residents who will participate. So tonight, I don't have to tell any of you, is a happy night and one that we look forward to every year. A raft of great people from Pleasantville, both kids and parents, teachers, counselors, troop leaders, guides, directors, all of those people who work all year long to do so many good works for the Village of Pleasantville. We don't get enough opportunities to say thanks, and tonight is one of them. So I'm going to head over to the podium. High school students should note we have your principal in the jury box, just where we want her. So, as I mentioned, we obviously talk all year long about the good things that are done, and a lot of those good things are done by adult volunteers and members of our boards and commissions. But the good works that are done by adults and parents are, in a lot of respects, dwarfed by the great works that all of you guys do. Dwarfed not because we don't work hard, but because there are so many of you. And because there have been so many good examples in the classes that came before you, and because it seems every year that when all of these different groups in the village ask for help, an ever longer list of people volunteer. So it is a night for all of us, and certainly the 5 of us on the village board, to say thank you, not only to all the students who do all this good work, but to the adults and parents and leaders who guide them. Your work is noticed, it's appreciated, and it is a very, very significant part of what makes this place an extraordinary place to live and work and share in, and the generosity that is manifested by all of you, not only in work you do within the village, but as we will hear shortly, in work you do elsewhere around the country and in places of need, brings that good word to so many different places that it's really an extraordinary opportunity to say thank you, and we are glad to do that tonight. As we go through this list, each of you are called. The drill in such a crowded room is come on up, receive your certificate, and then you can loop your way around and be greeted by the rest of the board. Pick up your little goodie bag, which is a small gesture of our appreciation. As is always the case, we have a bunch of people who show up repeatedly because they never sleep and they go home and volunteer for something else, and we are happy to see you. Feel free to make the loop again, but maybe just one bag each time, the first time. So. And we're watching, we're counting. So, for each of these groups, I invite a member of the group or one of the leaders to comment if they wish about the activities of the group and the good works the kids do. And I invite Dawn Bartz to comment first. on the Student Ambassador Program.
Thank you, Mayor Shearer. It's a pleasure to be here with so many of our students. I have the pleasure of representing both the guidance department and administration and the school in recognizing student ambassadors from the Pecanico Hills Orientation Program. These 4 students have worked over the past 2 years to provide orientation activities to the incoming or prospective incoming 8th graders and also to their parents. They volunteer 20 to 25 hours each year. They serve as tour guides and mentors to younger students. Their volunteerism is particularly special because they do come, and they have chosen to come to Pleasantville High School from the Pecanico Hills School District. I'd like to recognize Camille Brown, Andrea Koza, Leah Marmo, and Casey McBride.
Liam.
Congratulations. Thanks.
Congrats.
Nice job.
Well done.
Thank you. Good job.
Second recognition is a new one. These 3 students created a work of art last year for our first Veterans Day assembly. These student film producers created an original film that was honoring our veterans, shown at the high school in May in honor of American Legion veterans attended from both the Thornwood and the Pleasantville Legions. The presentation was in front of the entire school. It was a full-length documentary, which they spent about 100 hours creating, interviewing World War II veterans and a Vietnam veteran from Pleasantville. The documentary was a first of its kind. I asked these gentlemen, if knowing that they had talent and worked for Jacob Burns, if they could make a visual presentation, and really astounded me and our local community. At the assembly was also our superintendent of schools, members of the school board, and the mayor himself. I'd like to recognize Jacob Nemec, Dylan Franks, and Jack Butler.
I can vouch for the quality of that work and also for the great day we had, thanks to the high school for doing it. Is there someone from ECHO who would like to give us a little report about what ECHO did this year? You're on, Dawn.
ECHO is one of the largest clubs that we have here. And there's going to be some duplication here as well. ECHO does many things focusing on community service. In fact, right now our library is filled with donations that ECHO volunteers have gathered in light of Hurricane Sandy. ECHO members also run our blood drives, in which we have received awards 2 years in a row for the most pints of blood. And again, that's a life-saving volunteer opportunity. The ECHO students are also our student ambassadors and our tour guides. Many, many different activities, so led by Stephanie Imparato and Allison Steinberg. I'd like to recognize the following students: Andrea Koza, Michael Gratz, Gabby Minton, Elizabeth Parati, Barrett Rosenbaum, Jack Eisenberg, Camille Brown, Danielle Cuneo, Alicia Marino, Owen McAndrew, Christina Portanova, Michael Zacher, Brendan Klein, and Ian Singer.
So, Sue, congratulations.
Thank you. Good job, Jack. Next time. Thank you. Yeah. Good job. Thank you again.
Hey, I recognize you.
He's not ready to go. He is not here. So. Okay. And you are.
You? Congrats, man. Stay there.
All right, bro. Thanks.
Congratulations on well done.
We'll give your principal a break here. We also have a group from Pleasantville High School, the students who run the Student Visions program, which is an active student group that's focused on the high school and the community, and collaborative projects with the Chamber of Commerce, the Recreation Department, and Pace University. The Student Vision group has worked for some years now in fostering all kinds of great programs, and this year we have 6 people to honor, and they are Isabella Schwartz, Isabella, Michael Zocker, Colette McCullough, Stephanie Villa, Nick Kirikiadis, and Eden Egelski. All right, Stephanie, you get extra credit. All right, I'm going to put you back on Link Crew. There's a new name for our group this year.
Fantastic.
Link Crew is a high school transition program. These juniors and seniors volunteer at least 35 hours per year to help in our freshman orientation program. They come in starting in the summer and work with our freshmen who are nervous to be at the high school. By the end of the day, the freshmen are excited to be here. They are involved in activities throughout the year. They are mentors. They support all 9th grade students and serve as ambassadors. The students also are involved in case students need a buddy as they come into the school. So our link leaders have also been connected to new students to Pleasantville High School. I'd like to recognize the following students: Amritha Gunabalan, Danielle Labruzzo, Billy Machin, Jeremy Anoma, Emily Altan, Luke Scales, and Emelisa Stangaron.
Thank you. Congrats. One pass for the bag.
Yeah.
All right. Congrats. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Jeremy. Thanks. Good job. Thank you.
All right. Good job. Good job.
As we always do, we have a long list of people who have been participating with the Holy Innocents Youth Group. You're on.
Hello, my name is Teresa Sullivan, and I'm president of the Holy Innocents Parish CYO Youth Group. I, along with 7 other co-officers, am a senior this year and have had the pleasure of being in this youth group for all 4 years of high school. The youth group has been really a home away from home for all of us. We have had the amazing opportunity to meet twice a month and discuss issues that really matter to today's teens. We organize trips to the city to feed the homeless, charity walks for various foundations, and a week-long mission trip every other year. The people in youth group are hardworking, compassionate, and loyal, but perhaps the most important quality of the kids in youth group is their outstanding dedication. They wake up at the crack of dawn to serve people who they have never even met. They sleep outside in our annual Box City event to raise money and awareness for these same people. They give up the first week of their summer vacation to help others around the nation. These kids are involved in many other service organizations throughout Pleasantville, as you can see, along with being involved in various sports and extracurriculars, and they still make time for youth group. These teenagers are committed, self-sacrificing, and are always willing to go the extra mile, and I am proud to call myself their leader. I'm sorry to say that our youth group minister, the brains behind the whole operation, Mr. Tom Connolly, cannot be here with us tonight, but I know that he has just as much pride in these teenagers as the town of Pleasantville does. We appreciate his countless hours of hard work and effort, without which we cannot accomplish our mission of helping others. And we appreciate the town of Pleasantville for recognizing all that these teens do. Thank you.
As they come by. Michaela Brown. Caroline Cancino Mendoza. And Andrea Koza. Sarah Crimmins.
Thank you.
Now we need to call our substitute speaker.
Before I left, I got strict instructions from my daughter not to embarrass her. So Claire Cunningham.
James Finnegan. Caroline Freilich. Taylor Forte. Caroline Guttridge. Elizabeth Hammond. Maggie Heideprem. Nancy Howe. Maria Howe. Matt Lang. John Lydon. James Lydon. Kelly Maloney. Katie McAllister. Back for a repeat appearance, Gabby Minton. Likewise, Amanda O'Leary. Emily Parati. Caroline Puglia. Owen Rita. Terrence Roney. Gabrielle Santander. Anya Stapleton. Billy Stapleton. And Paul Stapleton. Maggie Sullivan is going to give herself her certificate. Oh, Teresa. You're Teresa, sorry. Maggie. Mixing my Sullivans. Francesca Trombetta. All right. You want to take those and give them to your colleagues? All right. We have another list of young people who have participated in the Holy Innocents Education Program. These are volunteers who dedicated their time as teachers in the classroom. With confidence and professionalism, they prepared lessons and activities, helped children understand the materials, and reinforced a positive classroom setting for their young pupils. Just a part of the many settings that Holy Innocents provides for young people and the many young people who take such good advantage of it. On that list for Holy Innocents Education Program are Allison Longo, Eleanor Bentley, Maggie Sullivan, I got right this time, Nicole Guastella, Caitlin Malisak, and Amanda O'Leary. We have 3 young men to honor from the Pleasantville Boy Scout Troop 12. Is there anyone from Troop 12 that would like to talk at all? Well, I can speak from personal experience that these 3 nominees are all people that have benefited the community in various ways. The members of Troop 12 frequently come to the village and ask what needs to be done and then do it, which is an extraordinary benefit to this village, and there are projects all over the village that have been done not only by these 3 young people, but by those that came before them. So tonight we honor Brendan Largy, Andrew Steinbeck, and Christopher Dorr. I see Peter Rogovan. He would be the perfect person, as chair of our Farm Market Committee, to comment on the good works done by volunteers to the Pleasantville Farm Market.
Thanks, Mayor. This is the second year that we've done the internship program at our farmers market. Our first intern wrote his college essay about the great experience he had, got into the college of his choice. Coincidence? We think not. So not to be outdone, we had 7 interns this year, and they were absolutely fantastic. We
What
could
was
not.
their mission batting average? We don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know. We're going to find out. We had fantastic interns this year. They fully embraced the farmer lifestyle. They came early. They stayed late. They worked in the rain, the hot sun. We couldn't get rid of them, actually. We had we scheduled it so we would only have 3 interns each week, because we really didn't have more work, and all 5 of them just kept showing up, and then we got 2 more, and then sometimes 7 of them showed up, and they just said, well, we're here to help, and this is a good place to be. They did everything. They helped the vendors. They helped with the setup of the audio equipment. They helped run the kids' events. Just a great group of folks, and the committee thanks you, and the community thanks you. And I was told I could also make a plug. Is that right?
Can't stop yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are starting our first ever Winter Farmers Market this year, Saturday, January 5th. It's going to be in the middle school cafeteria. I just can't read so many people.
Are you seeking volunteers?
Yes, we are seeking interns for the Winter Farmers Market. We're also probably going to be looking for some folks to work for money, not for us, but for the vendors, which is a little bit harder than, well, it's different. You have to get here even earlier to work for the vendors. But information will go out through the high school on that. Do I have a list?
You have a list.
All right.
I'll read the list. You hand them out.
Okay.
You take one of those jobs for money, we'll thank you, but we won't give you a certificate.
That's right.
But you'd rather have the money, probably. Evan Shorn. Ellen Halamu. Luke Scales. Claire Schneider. Melanie Stoffler. Chris Tom. And Emily Alton. Thank you. Two young people to honor from the J-Teen Leadership Group. Is there anyone who would like to comment about their activities? Then I will. J-Team volunteers have addressed issues and have implemented service projects on a monthly basis. They participated in service trips to Biloxi and to New Orleans to provide disaster relief work to victims of that area. we are happy to honor the work of Jake Mera. And Josh Wallen. Five young people are honored for their assistance with our Village of Pleasantville Senior Center and Senior Outreach Program. We run an extraordinary program down at the Clinton Street Center and also participate in not only a Meals on Wheels program for people in the village, but we assist with Meals on Wheels on a contract basis for some other communities. So Pleasantville is quite a hub for services to seniors in our community, and these 5 students have assisted us in many ways for which we are deeply appreciative. They are Chloe Kastner,
Thank you.
Kimberly O'Keefe,
Thank you.
Caroline Cancino Mendoza, back for a second visit. Amelia Stargiati. And Audrey Tuck.
Good job.
I see Gail Zarek, and now I need you to talk about the Pleasantville Presbyterian Church Appalachian Service Project.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and the Village Board. You might be surprised to know how many Pleasantville youths participate in ASP. This past summer, 30 Pleasantville area youths, both high school kids and college-age youths, volunteered 9 days of their time to repair and rebuild homes of people who live in poverty. They traveled with a dedicated group of adult volunteers to Mingo County, West Virginia, Hatfield-McCoy territory, to repair and rebuild homes of people who live below the poverty line. Together, we repaired and rebuilt 6 homes for 6 families. You might be surprised to know how much it means to the people in West Virginia who have been without hope. Poverty often means being without hope. These are people who have been without running water, without electricity, with holes in their roofs. The recent hurricane reminded us of what some of those inconveniences can feel like. But we had hope that those things would be repaired, and soon. Sometimes the face of poverty means you don't have hope that that's ever going to be fixed. It's an astounding thing, miraculous even, to see a teenage boy or girl restore hope to someone who really had lost it along the way. Our boys and girls can transform the lives of people who are on the receiving end of their help, but in the process, our boys and girls are also transformed by the experience. You might be also surprised to know that this is actually a lot of fun. I didn't originally think it would be fun. The people who taught me that are our kids, for which I thank them. And they remind me every year because they come back and they bring their friends. I want to thank the Presbyterian Church and Pastor Debbie Bronkema, who's here today, for supporting this mission. I really want to thank the community for supporting this mission, because without your prayers, your support, your help, this mission wouldn't be possible. I also want to thank the adult volunteers whose leadership is phenomenal. And I want to thank AHOME, which is a local nonprofit. We spent a day with them this spring, as we have for a number of other springs, practicing our skills with them for a day so that we'd be really ready to pick up those hammers and those circular saws and levels and ladders and make a real difference in West Virginia. This is not although this mission comes under the oversight of the Presbyterian Church, it is what we call ecumenical. Ecumenical means if you want to come, you're welcome to come. It doesn't matter which church you go to or if you don't go to a church. We'd like you to come if you'd like to come. And with one other reminder, next Monday, another plug, we have an information session for next year's ASP Experience. You can collect a flyer on the way out. Thank you again to the mayor for supporting and recognizing the ASP team.
I can speak, having known many young people as well as a number of adults who have gone on this trip, that, as is often the case, when you go to difficult places and work with people living in tough circumstances, do challenging work, and live in hard conditions, the remarkable thing is you come back thinking it was a great experience and you want to do it again. So that has replayed itself time and time again. And thank you, Gail, and the adult leaders for the great work you do. And thanks tonight to Alicia Alvis, Michael Dharmaraj, Brian Faulkner, Dylan Garbarini, there he is, Ben Kelly, Brendan Largy, Justin Maldonado, Oscar Markey, Owen McAndrew, Meg McCarthy, Sarah Mizell, Brendan Roney, Elizabeth Stargiati, Audrey Taco, Evelyn Taco, Jacob Wallace, Shane Willard, and Jackson Wong. Mindy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The last, but certainly not the least, is the Presbyterian Church Challenge to Change. Would anyone like to talk about that? We have a winner. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Callie Bronkema, and so this July, 17 of us went down in coalition with Bethel and Cedar Creek Camp and Conference Center to an area near Brandon, Florida, and we worked with migrant farm workers. And you hear stories about farm workers all the time, but it never really hits you how desperate they are until you see the smiles that you can bring to the little kids' faces. We worked mainly with a family who had 3 of the most rambunctious kids I've ever met, and another one on the way. And we helped them with their house. Their roof was falling apart, and we weren't able to do much with that, but we did what we could. And then we helped dig a drainage system, and we cleared a huge pile of brush in their backyard. And even without the work, one of the things that the 2 youngest kids that we had were age 6 and 7. And you think, oh, what can they really do helping with the house? They can't really do much, but then they go off and play with the young kids, and just the smiles, really, you can't, there's nothing better than seeing them. And so that was our trip, was working with that family and really trying to help them to the best of our abilities.
Thank you for that great description, Callie, and thank you for your service. Glad to hand you that certificate. Followed by Catherine Berg. And Shane Willard. That is our very long list tonight. If we have somehow forgotten any of you or missed any of you, we're horrified and we will make it right. I want you to talk to Patty if that should have happened. I hope it didn't. I just want to say again how appreciative we all are of what all of you do. It's one of those nights that amid the challenges all of us face in the coming years and decades, it's apparent that we're going to be okay. So, thank you all. Welcome back to the board meeting of Monday, November 19. We started out, for those of you who were watching earlier, with our annual Youth Recognition Awards, and at the conclusion of that, took a break while everybody gathered themselves and moved on. So we're back to the regular agenda. Let me remind you again, if you have comments or questions, you can call in at 769-1677. And let me also remind you of what I mentioned at the outset, which is that the Pleasantville and Briarcliff PBAs are sponsoring a toy drive on behalf of the Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital. You can pick up information about that at pleasantville-ny.gov. In the news column on the right-hand side, and there is a box here in Village Hall receiving toys. Also want to remind everybody that winter on-street parking rules begin effective December 1, so keep an eye out for that. December 1 is next Saturday, and at that point you cannot park all night on the street so that it's possible for us to remove snow. So keep that date in your mind. Hate to see anybody get a ticket for overnight on-street parking. Are there any comments from the public? Welcome.
Welcome, public.
You're the representative public.
Steve Krause, Pleasant Avenue. First, I don't know where everyone went.
Yeah, I know.
It's such exciting TV. First, I'd like to publicly thank the DPW and commend them. The two storms they had back-to-back, I think they did a tremendous job clearing the streets, getting stuff out of the way. So I'd like to thank them for that. Second, I'd like to thank the mayor personally for his efforts in communicating what was going on. Being one of those without power for 9 days, we at least had a sense of someone's out there talking to people and trying to get people to address our situation. The third is a proposal for you guys to consider. I've talked to a couple of people who have been affected by the storm. Unexpectedly, they'll be replacing, repairing fences, roofs, housing siding. Wondering if it would be possible, I also talked to Mike Tesser about this earlier today, possible to waive the building permit and zoning fees for those who find themselves going for the building department when they had no intention of going in front of the building department, and now they're hit with a fee that they hadn't budgeted for. I'm sure the village didn't budget a hurricane in its budget in terms of, we had 20 people coming in with building permit applications, so we'll get whatever that fee comes out to. So just throwing that on the table. I've talked to a number of people who are affected, and we're all batting with our insurance companies, and I'm one of those people who will be putting on a new roof and needs to put up a new fence. So I'm battling the insurance company, the adjusters, so everything can be done to help people in our situation. I'd appreciate it.
Okay, that's a good thought. We'll talk to Mike. And so in most cases, it would be building permit. Not too many people be affected by zoning, right?
Right, well, unless there's a fence that was too high to begin with, and now they want to replace it, they got to get a zoning approval again. But most of it's going to be just building permits. Like for myself, I need to put a new roof on, so I got to pay for a building permit to put the new roof on. And I don't know what that's going to cost, but the insurance company's not covering that necessarily.
I understand the building. The zoning, I have more of an issue with.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there. No,
is that all right? I mean,
it's really
if you had a non-compliant but grandfathered fence
now you need a
that got
variance
knocked
for that.
down, well then, but that was the risk you always ran, right?
No, if you bought a house they built in 1925, with a
Correct.
fence that was at that point non-compliant. Right now, I think you can't have a 6-foot-high fence in your front yard, whatever that is, 20, 30 feet. Say your 6-foot fence started 18 feet from the property line, so you've got 2 feet that are non-compliant.
Right,
If the wind blew that fence down and you want to put that fence back, you need a zoning variance.
correct.
Steve speaks with authority as a
Yeah.
longtime
Right.
member of the zoning board.
That's why I'm asking,
Right, so
actually.
I'm not in that case,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there might be people.
No,
who are
but
in
my
that case.
point is, in that instance, my initial reaction is I'm less willing to say we're going to grant you just a free variance in that case.
Not a variance, to waive the fees.
Oh, waive the fees is fine, I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, no, I agree with you. You gotta go through the process.
Okay.
You gotta go through the process.
I misunderstood. I thought you said that,
Yeah.
you know, they were allowed to put it back.
Oh, no.
No, okay, fine.
No, you gotta go through the process. In my case, well, not my case, but the case we're talking about that fence, which
Yep.
again, it's not me, it's
Yep, yep.
hypothetical. You have to pay for a surveyor to lay out the new fence, to make sure it is on the property line, and it's 18 feet from the property line, and so on. So all these expenses add up, the insurance company's not covering those expenses. So, yeah, no, I understand you have
Right,
to fully
right.
process and be legal,
Yeah.
but just, if you can waive the fees, I think that would be helpful to people in that situation.
All right, so we'll talk to Mike about that. I thank you for that idea, and also thank you for the good comments about DPW. They, as we said at the last meeting, can't say often enough, everybody in the village really stepped up to the plate, and the community was extremely well served by a lot of very good people. Patty Dwyer at the helm of all of it, Jeff Econom, Mike Testa, Richie Love, our police chief, our volunteer fire department and ambulance corps, and every one of the DPW guys who just did a great job. I mean, we were in a far better position than many other communities, in part because we got relatively lucky, at least in comparison to some, but also in part because these guys just jumped on it. So
Yep, that's it. And I thank you also
Right.
for the communication.
I thank you for that too. We try. We're trying.
Thanks again.
All right.
Thanks.
Steve, comment about communication remind me that we'll be going through a review of all that happened in this difficult storm, the follow-up to Hurricane Sandy, just to sort of go over our policies and our preparedness and the equipment we have and the standby systems that are in place. I think for the most part within the village of Pleasantville, they really work quite well, but it's a great opportunity to sort of rethink that and while it's still fresh in our minds, think about ways in which we could improve or perhaps some service or equipment that would assist residents in a situation like this. The discussion about the Con Ed response will be ongoing. In fact, Jeff Econom, our DPW superintendent, is attending a big meeting with Con Edison tomorrow, representing the village, as will be the case for many other communities, to start the process of talking about how it all worked, what went right, what went wrong, would it have been possible to improve the response that Con Ed offered, and would it have been possible to improve the communication? I certainly think the answer to the latter question is yes, but at this point, rather than finger pointing, I think all of us need to leverage the recent experience to try to make sure that the next time it all happens, it works more smoothly. So all that will
You
be
can actually
ongoing.
go to Con Ed's website and provide feedback on your experience for your outage, and I would encourage everyone to do that, because if we're ever going to get it better, they need to know what went wrong. So, we can't fix the Con Ed issues, so them knowing what they are would be helpful.
The other thing is that it became obvious, not that it's headline news, that people are out of power, frequently have no phone, no television, no internet, are harder to reach than people who are not in that situation. And so I know a lot of people had smartphones and are able to receive email and the like on their phones and are finding places to charge them, and we certainly assisted wherever we could. But it is worth noting again that the village has an email list that you can subscribe to if you go to our village website at pleasantville-ny.gov. In the left-hand column, you can subscribe to news, and there are a bunch of categories you're offered. You can get agendas from various boards and commissions emailed to you automatically if you'd like to follow what's going on with any of those boards. But if your interest is solely to be able to be in the loop in situations like the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy, you can simply subscribe to news and emergency alerts, and we will have you on an email list that will allow us to make sure that emails can get to you if you have a means to receive them. So I really encourage you to do that. We used a bunch of other lists, as we always try to do, including the local Pleasantville Yahoo list, which is a private list, and sending them out to email lists that any of us may have to try to capture as many people as we can in a situation where people are anxious for information. But it really would help to have a high degree of sign up at that pleasantville-ny.gov list. So I encourage everybody to get to it. I know it's the kind of thing that doesn't seem all that important, but during that week it would have helped an awful lot if we could have gotten to a bigger percentage of you. So I encourage you to do that. Anybody else want to add?
I just want to, I would also like to request we just look into the cost of a reverse 911, and we could do it to a cell phone, because most people did have cell phones, and they were charging them. But I know it's costly. We had discussed it during the storm, actually, with the emergency personnel that was here. I just don't know what it would cost to do something like that. I heard it was quite expensive.
Okay. All right. A couple of other announcements on the list, as you will hear shortly when we have a resolution to waive parking fees for the holiday shopping season. The Pleasantville Chamber of Commerce is kicking off the holiday shopping season with Holiday Open House Weekend, which is Saturday, December 1 and Sunday, December 2. Starts at 10 a.m. on Saturday in downtown Pleasantville and beyond, around the main downtown and also in the Old Village. So we encourage you to mark that on your calendars. There are events in various stores and also some specials in various stores, a kickoff to the holiday season, so please take advantage of that. We are encouraging everybody to buy local, as we always do. These are the stores that help pay the property taxes that benefit this community, and it's nice to return the money we pay when we buy things to the economy that benefits Pleasantville. So PCTV and the Chamber of Commerce have put together their annual holiday TV program. Shane McGaffey and Bill Flukes wandered around the village of Pleasantville and spoke to many, many different store owners and business professionals, and it is a great and amusing show, but also a great opportunity to be reminded of the breadth of stuff that is available in downtown Pleasantville. So perhaps some year we should have a contest to see if somebody can complete their entire holiday shopping for food, gifts, whatever else it might be, without leaving the friendly confines. So I don't know how we would prove that, but shall we try?
Receipts?
That's right. Pace University is hosting a public house, an open house on November 28th. It's Wednesday, November 28th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. The second annual Pace University Holiday Open House. It's being held in the Goldstein Fitness Center VIP room on the Pleasantville campus. It's a community event open to the public, featuring family entertainment, face painting, a balloon artist, giveaways, free food and beverages. The open house coincides with a men's and a women's basketball game, which can be viewed from the overlook in the VIP room. The public is welcome to attend. So anybody who's interested in that, get yourself over to Pace on Wednesday, November 28th between 5 and 8 in the Goldstein Fitness Center. Nice opportunity to take advantage of all that Pleasantville offers. As I often do, I want to remind you of the good stuff going on with our Pleasantville Recycling Committee. You can go to pleasantvillerecycles.org. They did a really great program with a Halloween costume swap. Some of you who go to the farm market may have seen that going on in the gazebo. It was an extraordinary success. Lots of kids went home with great new costumes that they didn't have before, and the things that weren't swapped ended up at Blythedale Children's Hospital, which, as you can imagine, contributed to a happy day there too. So thanks to our friends at the Pleasantville Recycling Committee for running that. And let me also remind you, if you didn't see Peter Ragavan's comments during the youth recognition, that the Pleasantville Farm Market, which is continuing down in Memorial Plaza through what weekend? What's the...
December 15th.
December 15th, Saturday, December 15th, is the last day for the outdoor farm market down at Memorial Plaza. But starting in January,
January 5th, I think.
January 5th will be the kickoff day for the brand-new Pleasantville Winter Farm Market, which will be taking place in the Pleasantville Middle School cafeteria. So, great new opportunity and expansion of that program, and thanks to the Farm Market Committee and its new not-for-profit organization, Food Chester, for making that all work, and thanks to the Pleasantville School District and the Board of Education for their great cooperation in providing a venue to make that happen. So, anybody else have something else to add? All right. Is there a motion to reopen the continuation of a public hearing held October 22 and November 5, 2012 regarding the Cablevision franchise agreement?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are reopening the public hearing. As mentioned, this is the third session, the purpose of which is to discuss and receive comments on the proposed Cablevision franchise agreement. Patty, has anything else come in the form of public comment since we last?
No, we have not received any other comments.
Are there any comments from the public?
Yes.
There is. Enter and sign in, please.
Shane McGaffey, 85 Nanahagan Road, also second half PCTV station manager. The public comments I wanted to make tonight had to do with, there's been a lot of conversation in the last two public hearings, as this being the third of maybe three, about the education channel and the fact that PCTV simulcasts it on Fridays so people who live in the school district but not in the village can see it. The issue I wanted to talk about a little bit tonight is, and this has been going on, I believe this predates the current person, Robert Hawk from Cablevision, but every Friday from 6 to 7 p.m., the Briarcliff channel, school channel, is simulcast on the Pleasantville Education channel. Therefore, we're simulcasting.
Meaning the Pleasantville signal is bumped?
Yes. The Pleasantville Education channel is bumped by Briarcliff, who for an hour shows on their channel, and we're simulcasting that channel. So it's essentially being triple cast. And it doesn't really make that much sense to me, just because I don't know of anybody who lives in the village of Pleasantville who goes to the Briarcliff School District. Maybe someone could figure something like that out, but I know there are people in Mount Pleasant who go to the Briarcliff School District. So the point really is, this has been happening for a long time, and obviously certain accommodations for whatever reason have been made in the past, and if certain accommodations for whatever reason have been made in the past, I don't see why it wouldn't be possible for certain accommodations to be made in the future. I mean, that's the discussion we've been having.
Right.
Right. We have a certain amount of people in the school population who don't live in the village, who can't watch the educational channel, and therefore we're simulcasting it, PCTV.
Can I ask you if you could clear something up one way or the other? The quality on the broadcast quality of the education channel is terrible. Is that the station's fault, or is there a technical issue with Cablevision or Verizon? What's going on with that?
I think there's a little bit of both. The difference between the PCTV and the government channel and the education channel is that they go out differently. So PCTV actually has a laser writer that actually writes it down with a laser, and it goes out that way straight to Ossining. The village channel actually goes out from here to the high school, and then from the high school to Ossining Head End. But that's going out, essentially composite to your BNC wire out. So the quality is not as good from these two locations, the school and the village, as good as PCTV, just because of the way the technology is.
And can you comment on how that compares to the way the Verizon signals are sent?
Well, Verizon signal is a little bit weird, because essentially what they do is they just put a splitter on the back of the racks, and then they're going out fiber. So they're going out direct. They're going out higher quality, but they're using the Cablevision system internally. So they didn't provide any equipment. They basically bought a $1.50 splitter and put it on the back end of their equipment.
So in our discussions with Robert, then there's nothing about the quality. There's no maintenance issues.
Well, I
that
mean-
need to be addressed in the contract to bring it up to speed to what Verizon's done, or?
Well, the quality would be better if they did fiber optic out. Now, I don't know what they're offering in the contract because I haven't seen it.
Nothing.
But PCTV goes out, actually, fiber. There's actually fiber from PCTV, and that's why the signal's clearer than the village is and the school is.
Okay.
And your basic problem
And-
as a village is that you go to the school first, and then you go
Why
to
do we do
Oslo.
that?
That's the way it was set up. And the problem with that is if power goes out in the school, but you have it here,
Okay.
you don't have a signal.
And, I mean, we can ask Robert Hawk to comment on that, but do you think that that wiring was just an economic decision? It was easy, cheaper or something?
That's what existed at the time, because the franchise was set up pre-PCTV. All right, so you had the village channel and the education channel first, and that's the technology they had at the time.
Uh-huh.
When PCTV went into the studio, it was a couple of years later, 6 years later actually, and they had better technology, so they actually lay fiber, and we go to the fiber.
Okay.
Can we get back to the issue about us being bumped in Briarcliff that you raised before?
Bumped by
or
Briarcliff.
bumped by
Bumped by
Briarcliff,
yeah.
yes. And isn't it on Fridays that we...
That's the day we simulcast.
That's the day we simulcast.
And it could be, let me say this, it could be every day from 6 to 7. I don't happen to watch the educational channel every day. I'm responsible for simulcasting on Friday, therefore that's when I notice it.
And
Does that make sense?
did this come about recently, or was it
No,
just...
this has been going on for quite, I mean, I don't know if Robert knows when it started.
Okay.
It's
So-
for a while.
So
Yeah.
part of the reason we have to simulcast on Fridays is because outside of the village, they're not getting the education channel.
Right.
Okay. Have you spoken or have we spoken to Mount Pleasant at any point, the town of Mount Pleasant, and asked them to run our school programming on their channel?
You know, in years past.
To reach their, the school district from Mount Pleasant.
The problem becomes, basically, PCTV is channel 76, okay? That's in the entire original consortium, so that's
Right.
7-8 towns.
Right.
Right, channel 75 is Chappaqua, that goes 7 or 8 towns. Ossining has its channel, 7 or 8 towns. All the education channels are 77. So if you broadcast the education channel on channel 77, then the people in Mount Pleasant won't be able to watch the Mount Pleasant School channel because it's the same channel. Just like channel 78. If you're in Briarcliff, you're not watching us right now. You're watching...
Is that the same with Verizon?
No. Verizon has separate channels for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a bandwidth issue or a choice that they're making, but it's certainly, you can watch Pleasantville, you can watch Chappaqua, you can watch North Castle, et cetera, et cetera.
So then if on channel 77 in Mount Pleasant, the town of Mount Pleasant, they showed our school district.
You wouldn't be watching theirs. Because it's
One day a week or something.
yeah.
No, I'm saying that, just, one day a week, like when they're not showing theirs,
Right.
when they're not showing anything, they put ours on, and that would reach the people in the village, in our school district, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But-
So have we ever contacted them to ask them to do this, like when they're running their school program, to set, like we do it on Fridays?
How do you do that logistically?
I
How do
don't
we
know.
get all
I'm
our
asking that
programming over
question.
there?
They'd have to simulcast it, and then Cablevision would have to provide a box to do it. Because the way we're doing it now, the way I simulcast the school channel is I actually, I have a box.
Hey, you can just do it within the
Right, so
studio.
I have to set the box to that channel and run it through a VCR. That's the only way I can really...
So, do you, I mean, we can ask Robert this, I don't know if he knows,
Right.
when Cablevision hijacks the Pleasantville Educational Channel to broadcast Briarcliff material, they're doing that at the head end in Austin.
They're doing it at Austin, I assume, right? Yeah, I mean, it's being done by Cablevision, not by us, certainly.
So
'Cause I'm not
the
flipping a
hypothetical
switch.
Mindy was referring to where the disenfranchised members of the school district who are outside the village of Pleasantville and can't get the Pleasantville educational feed without PCTV's
Right,
lifeboat
right.
could conceivably be accommodated in the same manner that evidently some Briarcliff people are being accommodated by Cablevision's switch at the head end during selected times.
Right.
Although presumably that ought not be happening without the formal approval of
You.
the entity that's having its
It's
channel
your
hijacked.
channel.
Right.
It's your channel.
Yeah.
I mean, so the village, oversees
Right.
their 3 channels. So
Right.
I don't know if way before any of you were in office.
It doesn't make any sense that they're doing that when they're not capturing anybody lost from their school district.
Well, that may not.
I just don't know of an area that has that overlap. I really
can't
don't
think
know
of
of. It happens with the town of Mount Pleasant, of course, but
It may be that the education channel doesn't exactly follow the village line.
I think that
Right.
they're capturing the wrong. I think they should be going into Mount Pleasant,
I agree with
not
you.
the village.
I mean,
That's.
the only
I
thing
think
I
they're
can think
confused.
of is that Dr. A used to live in, or
Right.
lived in.
Yeah.
All right,
Briar
thank you
Cliff,
for
that's
that
the only
share.
thing.
That
Thank
very
you for
well
that share.
could be.
How did that on public areas?
It's only an hour. It doesn't make sense.
I'll invite Robert Hawk from Cablevision back in a moment, but let me just, for the benefit of those
Well,
watching who may not have
it's
gotten the background,
obviously a lot of-
the point of the discussion we're having right now is that the franchise agreements the village has, which are the agreements that create the education channel, the government channel, and the public access channel, are theoretically contracts that provide that channel within the village of Pleasantville specifically. So the Pleasantville Education Channel is, in the case of Cablevision, at the moment delivered only within the village and not to the roughly 1/3 of the school district residents who are outside the village in the town of Mount Pleasant. So as a workaround for all these many years, PCTV, which does have a broader reach from its channel by dint of ancient agreements, broadcasts the content from the education channel all day long on Friday as a means of getting into the homes of the people that couldn't otherwise see it. So that has been the subject of discussion with Cablevision over many years, and in this, the previous 2 segments of this hearing, and it has been contrasted to the fact that Verizon, because of the different architecture of their system, does not have a problem in making this arrangement. So this new piece of information that the Pleasantville channel is periodically hijacked from the Ossining head end for Briarcliff content is of interest, and I invite you to comment. Welcome, sir. See, I used all those loaded terms, hijacked. You're back on your heels already, right?
You haven't used hostage.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor,
So,
honorable members of the board, Robert Hawk of Cablevision. The first I heard about this, it was on Friday from Shane, who spoke to my office. I don't know the reason why. I don't know how long it's been happening, but if it is your channel, and if you so instruct me tonight, I will investigate and have them
Cut them off.
cut them off
I mean,
as soon as possible.
Well,
if in fact that's what's happening.
We'll stop for a minute. Here's what I would say about that. First off, I at least would like to know why you're doing it,
Me too.
and if it's serving some, if it's solving some problem, would like to know what the problem is. And but even the more interesting part of it is, if that reflects Cablevision's interest and ability to solve a problem about the reach of a given channel, why can't similar arrangements be made to solve the problem we've been talking about the last 2 sessions?
Well, again, I don't know the origin of why that's
Okay.
happening, and I will investigate tomorrow
Okay.
the details of what is happening.
Right.
I didn't set it up
Yeah.
that way, so I can't tell
Yeah.
you why it was.
Okay.
In terms of the accommodation or trying to make a comparative situation, as I mentioned in the last meeting, your concern is areas of the town of Mount Pleasant, which is a separate franchise area, and the educational programming that they receive there. Because of the way the Ossining system is set up, it's obvious that the feeds, the access feeds, we do have an ability to send those access feeds to existing channels that are existing local channels, access channels that are all on that system. So, as I stated at the last meeting, where the town of Mount Pleasant to decide to run Pleasantville programming, either all the time or part of the time, that's probably something that could be done. I don't know in terms of...
You mean could be done at the head end?
Could be done
as
at the
opposed
head
to
end,
somebody in Mount Pleasant popping in a DVD?
At the behest of Mount Pleasant.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would certainly
And-
encourage you to do it at the behest of Mount Pleasant, but to my knowledge, you're doing it, in our case, without our approval, so. And
Well,
maybe, maybe there are other similar situations, I don't know.
As I said,
Yeah.
I don't know how
Right.
long the situation goes on
Yeah.
for. I don't know the origin of it. I don't know if at some point somebody asked for it to be done, but not knowing the details, the first
Okay,
thing
no, I
I want
understand.
to
So
do
what,
is
what would we need to
confirm.
do? Would
What's
we
it?
need to make the formal request to you to you would broker the situation with Mount Pleasant, that the Village of Pleasantville has requested that we run your school district programming once a week on your channels. We'll do it from our headquarters in Ossining. Is that okay with you? And they say yes, and boom, you do it?
Well,
Is it that easy?
I think if the town of Mount Pleasant approaches us and says, this is how we want to use the educational access channel, then that's something within their authority to do. But I can't negotiate with you for how Mount Pleasant is going to use
No,
their
no, no, I'm
access
not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to say to Mount Pleasant, listen, we have this problem. And the problem
Which,
is...
not for nothing, is a Cablevision problem, it's
Right,
not our problem.
it's really not our problem.
No, it's not our problem, because by stating that it's a problem, you're intimating that there's an obligation of ours that we are not living up to. And we,
I don't think you have the legal obligation.
It keeps being portrayed as some kind of a deficiency or a failure. But again, our obligation, our existing obligation, is within the franchise area, within the village boundaries of Pleasantville. The agreement we're seeking to renew applies to the village, just as the Verizon agreement applies to the village as well. So I don't want to be in a position of forcing Mount Pleasant
Well, you're not
on
forcing
how
them.
to use their channels. If they come to me and say, you know, we have so many districts, this is how we've decided, you know, the school boards all meet on different nights, and so we've decided that this is how we want it allocated. It's possible. Can't commit to it right here, because I'd have to confirm that technologically it can be done and timed in such a way. But that's their choice in their franchise area, under their franchise, how they want to use their educational access channel.
Getting past the point that you're making, that we're trying to make, that, you know, we're pointing out a dysfunction on your part, whereas really what we're trying to do is just make it work, that it reaches, we can capture our community with programming that's set aside for them. So, I mean, there's not an accusation being made that you're not delivering a service that you're supposed to be delivering. Yes, legally, within the confines of our franchise agreement, you're delivering what you're supposed to deliver. However, this is a problem, and you may not want to call it that, but that's what it is. And we're not serving anybody well if we continue along these lines. I mean, really, what is the purpose? So you know, if you can't reach out to somebody you have an agreement with and say, this is what's going on, can we work something out here, you know, because you're saying you can't do that because of the agreement. It's up to them to come to you and say, this is what we want to do. So it's really up to us to go to them and say, can you do this for us? Is that what we have to do?
I'm happy to convey the message to the town.
Okay.
I can't guarantee
Oh, no,
what their
we would
reaction or
never,
their response will be.
and you can't, that's right. But
They haven't expired.
if you can do that, that would help facilitate the situation. And maybe we can work it out to everybody's, you know, satisfaction.
As you
know.
commented earlier in one of these hearings, negotiations have been on and off with Mount Pleasant, but at the moment are not resolved, so you're operating with an expired franchise there, right?
I'd rather not comment on
Well,
what's
the
happening
fact that
in
it's an
Roman
expired
municipalities.
franchise that hasn't been renewed is a matter of public knowledge, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a matter of public.
I believe that's the case. You could nod. All right. So I mean, just as Mindy said, it's not about who did what or when. It's about, can we fix this? And as you have presented to us at the moment, you can't. Unless you have something new since we last talked.
Well, I mean, apparently PCTV has made a very, I think, economic fix by using the unique ability to be seen within the entire
Well, economics
service
from your
area
standpoint, because it doesn't cost you a channel or bandwidth. It only costs us
No,
a channel and bandwidth.
Not just economic. I think, it was a very ingenious way of getting out, using the resources that you have to get programming outside of your franchise.
But that's a status quo we don't want to.
I mean,
to continue.
PCTV is giving up a day of its programming to do this. So, just to be clear, the reason you don't want to do this is you don't want to devote another channel or bandwidth to make it happen. And I understand all the reasons that might be the case, but that is the reason, isn't it?
The reason is that we have a franchise that's expired with the
Yes.
village. We are seeking renewal. A competitor of ours has received the renewal from you recently.
Yes?
We would like to have an agreement on the same terms as they do.
Yes.
With regard to this issue,
The agreement is
obligations
silent.
are to provide 3 channels. That's
Right.
the same obligation that they have.
Okay.
And we would like to have a renewal with you based on those terms, so that
Okay.
we can operate under a fairer arrangement than currently exists.
Okay, but on this specific matter, as you know, as we have described in the past, Verizon was able to make a promise to us, albeit not one memorialized in the franchise, that they could deliver this capability, and indeed they have, and do so every day. So that's the reality of what's going on right now. We'd be more than happy to take Cablevision's reliable word that it would solve the problem and not require that it be memorialized in the contract as well. If you could make it happen, but you can't, or so it appears.
I differ with you. I don't believe that was a promise by them. If they
Okay,
did
well,
make
if you
a
would
verbal
like to come,
representation,
if you would
it
like
is
to
a-
come to the houses that are affected that have Verizon, you can turn on the channel and see it.
That may be their practice at this time,
Okay.
but if it was a promise on their part, it is completely unenforceable. There's an integration clause in these agreements that anything beyond what's written in their agreement is not a part of it. And where they decide to use their channel lineup in a different way tomorrow, it would be that supposed promise would be completely unenforceable.
Well, I mean, as we discussed at the last session, we don't have the right to negotiate into somebody else's district.
Correct.
But the point that we did make last time, and I wonder if you have any further feedback on it, is the Pleasantville Public Access Station, like the others that were part of the original consortium, are all, by dint of history, broadcasting to all the consortium communities, right? That is, the PCTV, Channel 76 signal, goes to a much bigger area than just the village of Pleasantville. True? And is Cablevision in a position to maintain that status quo as a contractual responsibility?
I think that's a point of negotiation, and I don't know.
So that might be-
not knowing
Okay.
where you stand on this. I don't know if it's fair to be negotiating on particular
Okay, no,
points
fine, that's
without really knowing
That's
where
all
we
I need.
are
That's
at
fine.
this point.
That's all I need. Yeah.
No, and this may just be naive because I don't have service, but can't we just switch the channels and make the education the one that goes out to a broader audience, 76, and make
Well,
the
that's-
77 the government channel?
That's what we do.
So
On
that-
Sunday, on.
But you're saying all the
That
time.
clarity issue, there's a clarity issue.
Well,
on that.
also-
It would be a 76 would be would not have the same kind of reception then.
And that would also deprive a PCTV of the bigger audience that it currently
Right,
has.
that's reverse.
Well, that's
Okay, so I think those matters are pretty clear, and I
It's a
thank
good
you.
point, though.
I thank you.
I'm just thinking maybe there's a way to.
But you see,
to
you know,
Cuts
as a,
PCTV's viewership down drastically.
Well, so I mean, that's an interesting response,
Government
Robert.
channels.
Yeah.
I mean, that suggests that at least at some level, there is a willingness on the part of Cablevision to maintain the status quo for one channel as well as the status quo for the other. So I'll just keep that in my hat for the moment, and we'll continue that in our negotiations.
Again, I don't think it's fair for us to negotiate
Fine,
this
I'm not
in
asking you
public,
to do that. Can
but
I ask
But I
you-
do know that our time is running out
Okay.
to figure out.
Can I ask
where we
you whether you are able to respond in any way to the comments Shane made about the quality of the signal from here and the school, and whether there's any way of unlinking the government channel, which comes from this building, from the education channel, which comes out of the high school?
He is correct that if this line is not fiber, if it's an RF feed, it's probably because it predates fiber optics being incorporated into the system.
And that would be a line like from the building out to X location?
It can be done either a direct link back to the head end, or something similar to the arrangement right now, back to the school, but over to fiber instead of RF, and there would probably be, some increase in quality.
And is that a doable thing?
As I said,
It's something you're willing to discuss?
it's something I'm willing to.
Okay, great. Does the Cablevision Light Path system that we have right in front of Village Hall and dug a trench for not too many years ago
What about that?
play into this?
No.
I'm a country lawyer. I can tell you how that works. But
All right,
I'm
Mr. Hawk.
happy to bring it up
Okay.
with our plant people
All right.
to see if that
That's
would be
great.
a way
They
of
provide
getting
internet
the feed
and
in.
telephone.
Okay,
Light
great.
path.
So unless you have something further to bring back from your side, I think we've kicked around the issues, and I think pretty well marked the highlights around the ones that require further negotiation with our team. So my inclination, pending the views of the rest of the board, is that we would close this hearing tonight rather than adjourn it as we have in the past, and then continue this discussion on these matters that have been highlighted by the public hearings between us and Rick Turner and you.
Yes, and if there is need for further discussion, I'm happy to. I've always been willing to meet with you and
You certainly have,
with
and I
the-
appreciate that.
with the village manager, and but we have very little time on this, and so I hope we can come to some kind of a resolution
I understand.
very soon on this.
I just like to see you have a little more flexibility with this issue that we just discussed, as you are with the other issues that you've committed to being flexible on. I'd like to see a little more of that. That's a little disappointing to me that you're pleased with that status quo but ready to move on everything else, where that's obviously a big issue for us. I just like you to think about that a little more, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Can you just, before we wrap it up, just frame it for me once more so I can discuss it with Rick Turner? The education channel goes to a limited audience. The government and PEG channels go to a broader audience. Is that the issue?
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the government channel and the education channel go to the same catchment area, which is essentially the borders of the village. That's fine for the government channel, because presumably the only people interested in the government of Village of Pleasantville are Pleasantville residents. It's not fine for the school channel because a third or perhaps even more of the school district residents are outside the village.
Got it.
PCTV reaches a much broader area by dint of an agreement that dated back to Continental Cablevision.
The three nonprofits, Ossining, Newcastle, and PCTV, are seen on the entire Ossining
So then
system.
when our board meetings are seen in other communities outside of Pleasantville, it's because you're running them on the public access channel? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
They couldn't see them on their government channel.
Okay.
Okay, I thank you, sir.
Robert.
And just not to appear unfair to anybody, we've been a little ornery on some subjects, but I do want to say that you have been, first off, willing and available to talk at all times, and also Cablevision has shown some much appreciated flexibility on a couple of matters, and we thank you for that.
Yes.
Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, public hearing is closed. Robert, while you're here, I actually haven't heard from anyone that there are continuing Cablevision outages in the village of Pleasantville, although I do understand there are some Cablevision and Verizon outages elsewhere in the county, and perhaps there are some here. Is that anything you have any info on? Sure.
I don't. There may be one-off situations. As I mentioned in the last meeting, the biggest issue was power coming back. And we had difficulty getting information from the power company as where they were coming on, which led to a lag in some places. But we do believe that we're back in the full area. Our call-in centers may still be a little overwhelmed. The wait times are high. So for people who are calling in for the credit, you can receive the credit within 30 days of your service coming back. So they should either keep trying or go to the website, which I mentioned. If they go to the Optimum.com website, it automatically has an outage page, and there's a link for you to send your information to make your request for credit.
And you get a credit for the days that you were out.
You get a credit for every day that you were out.
And you have to be proactive on that.
Yes, just because of the volume of people that we're getting.
Even if you had your power out and it was for a power reason?
Even if it was power related, we're giving credit.
Okay. And you can transact that entirely on the site?
You can do that on the site.
Okay, great. All right, I thank you for that useful bit of info. Much appreciated. And as I say, I've not heard from anyone that there are any remaining Cablevision outages, so kudos to you guys for having gotten that back going when the power came back. Okay, time for the resolutions. Number 200, Colleen.
Resolved that pre-check register dated November 19, 2012, covering wire transfer 73934 and check number 73935 through 74038 has been reviewed, and they are hereby approved as listed below. From the general fund, special purpose fund, water fund, capital fund, refuse fund, pool fund, trust and agency fund, totaling $1,610,554.29. I just want to say the general fund, which was the largest of the transfers, which was $1,272,789.59, had two large retirement system contributions, which has the number very, very high.
Right, once a year.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
So just as Colleen reported, we'd be in big trouble if we were voting on $1,610,000 at every meeting. So it is the retirement contributions and also the healthcare employees' health insurance contribution. So, and those of you who watch us regularly are also aware that the pension costs, as well as healthcare costs, but pension costs in particular, have been spiraling at a staggering rate. 60% one year, 30% the next year, huge numbers. So, any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 201.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees has reviewed the minutes of the meetings held on Monday, October 22nd and November 5th, 2012, and they are hereby approved.
Is there a second? Comments or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 202.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Pleasantville has received a copy of the fiscal year ending 2012 Justice Court audit and will cause the same to be filed with the Office of Court Administrations pursuant to Section 2019-A of the Uniform Justice Court Act.
Is there a second?
Second.
This is in response to a letter from the Unified Court System of New York State requiring that we provide them with a copy of our most recent audit, which we have, and also have a board resolution acknowledging that the audit was conducted. So here with that resolution, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 203.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village treasurer to adjust the base salary of DPW Superintendent Jeffrey A. Econom, P.E., from $129,500 to $135,975, effective November 19th, 2012.
Is there a second?
Second.
Jeff Econom, as many of you know, is our new DPW superintendent. He's now been with us for 6 months, and this adjustment is consistent with the discussions we had at the time that we hired him, and gives us also an opportunity to thank him again for extraordinarily good service here to the village. not only in general, but during Hurricane Sandy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. 204.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Pleasantville authorizes the village administrator to renew the intermunicipal agreement with Westchester County pertaining to Cablevision Lightpath telecommunications services as set forth in the attached agreement.
Is there a second?
Second.
Patty, this is the agreement that allows us to piggyback on the county deal with Cablevision Lightpath?
Right, it sets our rates for our phone services and our internet services.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. 205.
Me. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Pleasantville hereby authorizes the village treasurer to accept a donation in the amount of $100 from Bob Cicchetti for purposes of supporting the nutrition program at the Clinton Street Center.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Cicchetti. Very much appreciated, not only the contribution, but the kind thoughts that accompanied it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. 206.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Pleasantville hereby authorizes the village administrator to renew the pool's concession rental agreement with Robert D. Bruno for a period of 2 seasons at a rate of $4,500 per season in accordance with the other terms and conditions set forth in the agreement.
Is there a second?
Second.
Patty, you want to comment on this?
Well, we've had Bob DeBuono working out pool concession for, I think, for probably the last 10 years. He's been very reliable. He's always operated within the parameters of his health department permit. And we're looking for a 2-year agreement. It escalated slightly in rent from $4,400 to $4,500 a year.
Thank you, and sorry to put you through that.
Yeah, that's okay. It's just
Grim condition here.
Can't sound too good on the air.
And just so people are also aware, the contract requires that the refreshment stand be open most of the time that the pool is open, with hours specified as a minimum of 12:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. So what that means is that
We've never had a problem.
right,
with
we
that.
we require him to be there on some occasions that are not all that remunerative. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. 207.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the suspension of metered parking fees for all metered spaces with time limits of 3 hours or less from December 1, 2012 through December 25th, 2012.
Is there a second?
Second.
This is in response to the annual request from the Chamber of Commerce to suspend metered parking fees in the downtown to create a friendlier, more welcoming environment for holiday shoppers. Some discussion every year about exactly what the a period of time should be. Obviously, there is some lost revenue attached to that, and there is also an issue of parking management, because when the meters are not in operation, it's harder to keep people moving. So just to be clear, the resolution would suspend the parking fees for meters of 3 hours or less from December 1 to December 25, but time limits are still in place. So if you park at a 1-hour meter, you don't have to pay for it, but you need to move after an hour.
Patty, do we have a rough idea how much we lose in this? How much this costs us? Just
Well,
ballpark.
Minimum is $5 per meter per day, and you're looking at 160 meters.
So that's $800 a
That's
day.
about right.
Well, I don't think we're getting a net of $5 per meter per day. That would imply
That's-
that every meter is fully paid for the entire period of
Okay,
enforcement.
Right.
let's just
That's
let's say it's
simple
600.
math. I mean, it's hard to say. If you cut
Yeah.
that in half,
Yeah.
So
assume half
600,
of that.
and we have then it's 25 days of 600.
I don't think you can measure what it brings in
I'm
in
just
the economy
curious,
here
I'm just curious
to the village.
about what
so.
the round number is.
7-day-a-week meters. 6-day-a-week.
6-day-week meters. So, I mean, it's a significant. We're foregoing a significant amount of revenue. There's no question about
Exactly.
that.
Is this the same for the muni meter in the municipal lot too?
Yeah. Oh, yes. It's anything other than 12-hour meters.
It's not the 12-hour meters?
That's correct.
Right.
12-hour meters are still
You still have to pay
enforceable.
for it. Yeah.
So we're looking at sort of 15,000, something like that.
No, we make about that much money a month in
Yeah.
meter
So
revenue.
just so you know.
I know, and I again, I'll restate that
We could make- we
you
could make
cannot
that much
measure
money a
the
month.
economy it brings into our
You
village
know,
during
maybe
this
I
time
will
period.
say,
And
like
that our
I-
chamber, let me finish,
Yeah.
our Chamber of Commerce gives a lot back to this village, throughout the year. And this is something that, they are behind and in support of our businesses. And as the mayor has stated previously, this is, our tax base that we need to develop and support. And
And
this is
I-
the way we have done it for many years in
Okay.
support, so.
Okay. My answer to that is just, I stare out, from where I sit, I stare out at the parking, and I notice it is more congested. It is harder for my clients to park as soon as this starts.
Well, that's
Harder
an
for them to
enforcement
park.
issue, because the tires should still be marked,
Okay.
and they still
I'm-
should be ticketed if you're overextending your time. So that's an issue we should probably talk about, if it's not being enforced. But to question whether we should do it or not is another thing, but we still should enforce it. And I think that we do. They do mark those tires, and they do give tickets. I've seen tickets on windows. Maybe they don't do it enough. You may be right. But, maybe that's something, if we could talk to the chief and make sure that the time limits are still enforced, even though you're not putting money in the meter, the time limit is still enforced. So you got to move. So.
I mean, I will say it's obviously painful to give up revenue of any kind in the current environment, but I'm certainly going to vote yes for this and think we should do it. It worries me and has always worried me that we have a little bit of a reputation as being too aggressive about parking enforcement, and I certainly think it puts a little different face on things in the holidays, which is a nice thing to do.
I think that the only issue I have with this is generally my impression's been it's 2 weeks, not 3. This is 3 weeks. And if the chamber wants to do this, and the reason that we've done it this way is to accommodate their kickoff weekend, then we should coordinate with the chamber so that they can fit their holiday kickoff within our 2-week window, if that's important for them to do, as opposed to finding out about it tonight that their holiday kickoff was the 1st of December, and now we've not need to make an accommodation for that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Is the wrong way to manage this.
Yeah.
This should be a 2-week window, period.
But
It should be the
I really
15th.
don't believe it
should
was
be from
only
the
2
15th.
weeks, because
All right,
we-
Mindy, you
we-
believe that. I believe it should be 2 weeks from the 15th.
No, I'm saying in the past, I believe it was more than 2 weeks,
were
because
times
we
when it was
extended it into January.
Okay, I believe it should be 2 weeks, and I think it should be mid-December to January 1st. I'll do it this year, but I would suggest that we coordinate with the chamber next year so that we can better align the will, whatever that is of the board,
Right.
with the chamber so that we can accommodate both.
And look,
Because we're doing this on the shoestring right now.
Yeah, I think Hanukkah's early this year. I think that's part of the issue. I think it's early.
And that's
When
fine,
is
we can be
Hanukkah?
flexible,
Trying to
but
find, I think it's the 7th. I think it starts the 7th.
I agree with that, but I just have to emphasize, Mindy, that it's chamber members. Many chamber members are parking on Wheeler. We try to discourage them from doing that. They're
Right.
parking on Wheeler, and when these restrictions go up, they're parking just all day long. And
Brian,
I'm
I
not saying
believe that's
because
wrong.
these are my friends,
That's
and
wrong.
I like them, and we work together downtown. But if anybody is under the illusion that this is going to free up parking for shoppers downtown, that's wrong.
Well, if
Just wrong.
if store owners are doing that, I mean, it's wrong, and we have to enforce it, and they shouldn't be parking there anyway. I mean, that's been an ongoing thing. I mean, I remember in the 90s when I was on the Business Revitalization Task Force, and we had a ghost town downtown village, and we were trying to get the store owners that we had not to park in front of their store. I mean, it's the same issue that we have here, 20 some odd years, I'm really dating myself, some odd years later, and we have this issue. So if that is the issue, let's address that. I mean, let's talk to the chamber.
Well, I'm not.
There's no
look,
reason why we shouldn't
I'm
talk
not
to the
saying-
chamber
I'm
about
not-
that.
I'm certainly not indicting just people who have businesses downtown, because this is, as the mayor said, this is what's that undergirding our community. These are valuable institutions. All of the stores
Right.
have the successful businesses. It may be shoppers, it may be people on the train, it may, who knows, I don't know what it is. All I can tell you is when this goes through, my clients have a harder time finding a place to park. Whatever that is, whatever that connection is, I don't know.
So just for historical context, last year, the resolution 2011-227 suspended parking meter fees from December 10 through January 2.
So that's more than 2 weeks.
Similar time frame, I would say, to what we're doing now,
Right.
December 1 to December 25. So,
And
but I certainly wholeheartedly
we changed
agree
that
with-
that day
Right.
too, because they was, and also Hanukkah starts Saturday, December 8th, and ends Sunday, December 16th.
But anyway, I certainly agree with Jonathan that
Yeah, it was early.
the exchange with the Chamber of
That-
Commerce, we
Hanukkah's
should be
early, yeah.
we should be chatting about
Early.
how to balance these various goals. But I do think, I agree with Brian, I see exactly the same thing he sees about parking seizing up a bit, but I will also say, perversely, it feels a little better to hunt for a parking space when you get it and it's free, so.
But could we just
There you
ask
have
the
it.
chief to make sure that we're still enforcing the,
Oh, brief delay for changing a tape. Welcome back.
I just want to add that we could just make sure that the chief is aware that it's still, the time limits need to still be enforced, which I know that they will do that, but, if considering Brian's comments, we need to make sure that happens.
Okay. Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved, 208.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Pleasantville hereby authorizes the village treasurer to accept a donation in the amount of $5,743.02 from John and Ellen Palazzo to be fully earmarked for the purchase of 3 benches with bronze plaques in memory of their son, Johnny Palazzo.
Is there a second?
Second.
An extraordinarily sad story and an extraordinarily nice way to honor the Palazzo's son, Johnny. We thank them very much for this, and we'll be happy to work with them on the best location for these. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved, 209.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Pleasantville hereby authorizes the village administrator to enter into an agreement with Foodchester, Inc. for the management of its 2013 farmers market in accordance with the terms and conditions set forth upon the approval of the attached proposed agreement. Did that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Was that English?
Yeah, that was.
Okay,
It wasn't
just
old.
check.
Okay. Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Patty, you want to just describe to people what's going on here?
Do you want me to do it, Patty?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
No,
I agree.
only because she can't talk, the poor woman. I mean,
Not gonna sound
this is an agreement between the new non-for-profit Foodchester, which we're very excited about, that will be managing our market through the Village of Pleasantville as a non-for-profit. And we, in order to have money pass through and in order for them to collect money for their winter market, we need to work out the details of this agreement. And there's a proposal attached, which we have some final comments on, and we're authorizing Patty to go ahead and sign that once we hammer out the details. Is that
Okay.
good enough? Thank you.
Further questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Pleasantville hereby authorizes the village administrator to issue an RFP for real estate brokerage services in the event professional assistance is needed in the marketing and showing of the former recreation center building at 359 Bedford Road to potential buyers.
Is there a second?
Second.
So this would allow the Patty Dwyer to issue an RFP for real estate broker services as we attempt to market the former recreation center. There has been some interest in it, and in fact we met with a potential buyer tonight and have another group that's interested in it that we will meet with next week. So we will see how those discussions go and whether it seems appropriate to put this building out with a broker or not, but we'll have this resolution in place so we can move ahead. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. That was our last resolution. Is there any new business? One more thing I wanted to mention in closing, and that is that last Monday, which was November 12, we held our annual Veterans Day ceremony down at the gazebo in Memorial Plaza. Veterans Day is normally the 11th, with a service at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. This year we held our service on Monday the 12th because Veterans Day fell on a Sunday and there were lots of other things that were going on. Made it an opportunity for more people to come. It was a very, very, very nice event, organized as it always is by the Fancher Nickel American Legion Post here in Pleasantville. There were a number of people honored, including the commander of the American Legion Post, Bert Ruiz, who we thanked for his service as we do annually, but who was also honored by being entered into the Veterans Hall of Fame of our local Senate district. George Coffey and Roger Lemke, both long-standing members of the Pleasantville community and of the Fancher Nickel Post, were also honored, as was Milton Castro, who is a Pleasantville High School graduate of 6 years ago,
Yeah.
6 years ago,
2006.
who is just back from his stint in the United States Marine Corps, has come back having decided to leave the military as Corporal Castro, and has come back to the community and will be attending Pace University. So
Amazing to see him.
really a nice event. Two local businesses were also honored, Foley's Club Lounge and Prospero's Winery. Both organizations are very, very supportive of all that has gone on with the Fancher Nickel Post. So an extremely nice day. County Executive Rob Astorino attended and spoke, which was a nice element to have in the ceremony as well. So
Good night.
unless
Say
there's
good night,
any further
Peter.
business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Aye. Happy
Thanks in
Thanksgiving.
particular
Happy
to the
Thanksgiving.
students we honored. Happy Thanksgiving. See you Monday, December 3.